Ever get caught up in that bingo hall energy? Card in hand, laser focus as the numbers roll.
Oh, absolutely. I know that feeling.
We've all been there. But I've always wondered about the person behind the mic, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
So today, deep dive time, the world of bingo calling.
yeah.
And trust me, way more to it than just yelling bingo.
Way more. We're going deep with RoleCatcher on this one.
Okay.
They're like career detectives, right?
Okay.
And they've got this crazy detailed guide on being a bingo caller.
Okay, so this is not just like a how to play bingo. This is like,
No, no, no. This is the career. This is the job. And honestly, some surprising stuff in here.
okay, so no more like picturing a, bored retiree just kind of phoning it in.
Nope. Gone. Forget that image.
Okay, so what was the thing that really jumped out at you from this RoleCatcher guide?
It's the balance they emphasize between like the entertainment side
Okay.
and the legal side.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
It's a weird combo. On one hand, you're the life of the party, energy, excitement, the whole bit. Right.
But then you're also responsible for upholding all these gaming regulations, making sure everything's fair, navigating tricky player situations.
See, that's a side you don't think about. It's not just, I know how to call out numbers. It's like, you got to know the rule book, too.
Oh, absolutely. RoleCatcher really stresses that.
Hmm.
Deep understanding of all the different game variations, and there are more than you think.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Plus the regulations.
Yeah.
It can be different everywhere, state to state, even down to licenses and training needed. It's like they said some places you need a specific license just to call bingo. Others, training might be enough.
No!
It's way more intricate than it seems, you know.
So it's a little bit showmanship, a little bit legal eagle, almost.
Exactly. And here's where it gets even cooler. I think technology's changing the game. Literally.
Oh, okay.
RoleCatcher talks about how virtual bingo halls are blowing up now.
Right, right.
It's not your grandma's bingo night anymore necessarily.
Like online, interactive.
Totally. New generation of players. So, okay, so not only do you need those traditional skills, but now you've got to be tech savvy too to keep up with this.
Yeah. The guide even mentions, like, you might have to operate electronic bingo machines, troubleshoot tech issues, even adapt your whole delivery for an online audience.
Oh, wow.
It's a different world. They even talk about understanding the player demographics online. It's different than those traditional halls.
Right, right. Because you're reaching a different... Yeah.
Completely.
Okay, so it's amazing how technology is kind of like breathing this new life into this like really classic game. You know?
Yeah.
But with all that, I do wonder, are we losing that like human element a bit?
That's where you'd be wrong. RoleCatcher actually says strong customer service is more important than ever.
Really?
Think about it. You're dealing with people out for a good time, maybe some winnings.
Right.
Emotions run high, especially when the game gets going.
Oh, I bet. And people get passionate about their bingo, I'm sure, even online. What kind of like situations might a caller have to like navigate with that?
RoleCatcher even talks about like disputes, complaints, people thinking someone's cheating.
Yeah.
I mean, I can only imagine that even online, things could get
Things would get heated.
heated, exactly. And it's cool how they break down the skills you need to like smooth those situations over, but keep things, fun and fair at the same time.
Right. You can't, yeah.
Like they have a whole section on this, even go into typical interview questions about these scenarios.
Oh, really? So they're giving you a little like sneak peek behind the scenes of a bingo caller interview? That's interesting.
Totally.
What are some examples of the questions?
Well, you got your basics, right? Like
Right.
how fast can you call those numbers? Or tell me about your experience with different bingo games.
Okay.
Got to make sure you got the chops. But then they go deeper. How would you deal with a disruptive player? Or two people say they got the same winning card. What do you do?
Oh, wow.
That's real-time pressure.
Yeah, those are such specific situations too. You really don't think about it until you're in it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And it really highlights the fact that you, as the bingo caller, you've got to be able to think fast, stay calm.
Oh, yeah, it's a performance.
It really is. It's like a performance on top of, the calling and everything else.
Totally.
And it really shows that mix of skills we've been talking about, right?
Sure.
Knowing the game, obviously communicating clearly, the tech side of things, if you're in that digital world. And then those people skills to just keep everything running smoothly.
Yeah, totally. And don't forget the math.
That's right. You'd mentioned that before.
Yeah.
That RoleCatcher really stressed the math skills that you need.
Yeah.
Which I mean, it makes sense, but it's not something you immediately think of
Yeah,
with
okay.
bingo calling.
They made a good point, though, about the responsibility.
Right.
You're handling payouts, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes multiple winners, different prize amounts.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
They gave this example. Imagine like a progressive jackpot.
Right. Yeah.
3 people win at once. You got to calculate those individual amounts like on the spot, keep the energy up, keep the game moving.
It's a lot. So you're like a game show host, accountant, and referee,
Exactly.
all in one person.
That's bingo.
And that's just scratching the surface. We talked about like the skills and the interview process, the challenges. But what about like a bingo caller career path? Like, is there room to grow? Or is it just like, this is it, this is the job?
That's where RoleCatcher really blew my mind. They have this whole like career trajectory mapped out, different stages, more responsibility as you go, even salary ranges, which, I mean, those change a lot depending on where you are, how much experience you got.
Okay, now we're talking. A bingo caller career ladder. I got to hear more about this later on me. A whole bingo caller career ladder. All right, break it down for me. What's that upward climb look like?
So RoleCatcher, they laid out pretty clear. Usually start as like entry-level bingo caller.
Oh.
You're assisting a more experienced caller, learning the ropes, getting comfy with the calls, the tech, all that.
Right, right.
And you're handling more of those like basic player interactions. So crash course in customer service right there.
So it's like you're paying your dues, you're the apprentice,
Yeah.
you're soaking it all up at that level.
Exactly. Then you move up, junior bingo caller. More independent, running games on your own.
Oh, okay.
That's where those problem-solving skills, they really matter, according to RoleCatcher. You're handling disputes, making judgment calls, maybe even training newbies.
Oh.
And even at that level, the guide gives you salary ranges, which is cool to see.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Obviously, it varies, experience, location, all that.
Right, of course, of course.
But still, it gives you an idea. And I
Yeah.
bet that's where, like, your personality can really shine through.
Totally. It's not just the numbers anymore. You're setting the vibe, building that rapport.
Exactly. RoleCatcher even mentions, like, coming up with strategies to get players coming back.
Oh, wow.
So it's getting kind of businessy at that level, you know?
So it's like you're not just the performer, you're thinking about the business side of things too. Interesting.
Yeah. And then, if you're really going for it, there's senior bingo caller.
Okay, so that's like the top of the bingo caller world, the big boss level.
Pretty much. RoleCatcher's take is you're running the show at that point, overseeing everything, staff, revenue, you name it, keeping up with trends, maybe even like pushing for changes in regulations, you know?
Wow, so you're like shaping the future of bingo at that point.
Totally. Not just calling the game, but influencing the whole scene.
That's wild. But okay, let's rewind a bit for someone listening who's like, all right, I'm sold. How do I get into this? What's RoleCatcher's advice for breaking in?
They actually say volunteering's a great way to start.
Oh, yeah.
Local bingo nights, you know? Get your feet wet, get a feel for it, make some connections.
That's such good advice, though, because it's low pressure, it's fun.
Exactly. And speaking of connections, they're big on networking. Reach out to people in the industry, go to events, even put together a portfolio of your calling.
Wait, a bingo calling portfolio? That's next level.
Right. Shows you got to be serious, stand out from the crowd. They stress being able to show off what makes you unique.
Wow, I gotta say, this whole deep dive has really flipped my script on bingo calling. We went from like stereotypes to a whole appreciation for the profession.
I know, right? It's way more than meets the eye.
What's your biggest takeaway from like really going deep on this?
I think it's how much the role's changing. It's not just the calls, it's the tech, the people skills, the business sense. It's a lot.
It's tradition and innovation all mixed together, which is so cool. Well, as we wrap up our bingo calling deep dive, here's something to think about. With online bingo blowing up, technology always changing, what's next for the bingo caller? What new skills will they need? What new opportunities are out there? Lots to ponder. Until next time, happy listening.